Live? We're live. We're live.
We're alive.
Woo!
Woo! We made it. We have made it to another 420.
I'm feeling very masculine energy right now.
Oh, happy day.
Vibes. I'm feeling. If you're here, say hi because you know our numbers don't reflect who's in here. We'll give it like a few moments and then I'll read the trigger warning. I think it's just us today.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody wants to come on, you can. But I feel like, it was kind of last minute. I was like, yo, if anybody wants to come through.
Yeah, I mean, we posted, people liked it. No, a couple of people reached out, but it's not good for today. So we'll roll with it. We'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Is anybody here yet?
I don't see anyone in the eyeball section, which is that's the only thing that I'm
there's never reflect properly.
Yeah, so 1 and 2.
Well, that's enough for me.
We're here. Oh, you should definitely I'll make sure you have Michelle's number and y'all should get in touch.
Yeah, she should. Yeah, we should. I don't even know.
She said she's rolling through to New Mexico, I think, for a festival for the weekend.
Wait, is she rolling through today or tomorrow?
No. I don't know when, but she said
the 18th through the 22nd. So today is the 18th. If she comes to my house today, frankly, I'm busy right now, but it's fine.
I don't think it would be today. I think she would have already been in touch to be like, yo, did she say, I don't know.
It's all. She didn't send me no message. I was like, hit me up and I'll give you my phone number.
There you go.
So if you're here, say hi. If you're not, well, it'll be uploaded later. You can listen later. It's not a big deal.
And thanks for being there.
Thanks for listening.
Either
in real time or in the after.
Go throw a little Facebook thing up.
Okay, listen. Y'all, it's about that time. You are about to get highly educated with the Cannabis Closet podcast with Canna Queen and MJ. This is an adult content show with no limitations on subject, language, or actions. Opinions, views, and expressions may or may not be that of the hosts and their subsidiaries and their guests. I don't know. If you aren't sure, don't worry. We'll tell you, or our faces will. It's time to get this session started. Thanks for rolling up and showing up. Please enjoy the show. It's a Wednesday show. We're just chilling today. Chillin'. There's a song that I have in my head now for that. Yeah, so we're just chilling today. We have some stuff to talk about, I guess. Let me go get the show notes.
Yes, they're there. I put them under 17, I think.
Okay.
I figured we're 2 behind whatever was so I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Something of that caliber. I don't know. So guess. It says guess. No one. No one. So we have a couple things on the list to talk about. We have the Asian American Pacific Islander month, and your sister brought up a really good point a few shows ago when we were talking about this, about how everybody has a month now, which is true. But then today we were kind of chit-chatting about that very fact, and I said, well, that's because white people don't know how to acknowledge others unless there's a special event. And I feel like that's pretty fucking true. I mean, including women. Like, we have a Women's History Month. What's up next? We have Women's History Month. We have Asian American Pacific Islander. We have a Black History Month. We have LGBTQ and Pride. There's really, and everybody deserves to be celebrated. Yes. I don't disagree with that.
Agreed. There's an actual whole list. Like if you Google like celebratory months or whatever, it's not just heritage months, ethnic and heritage months. But it also talks about, then there's also like breast cancer awareness month, autism awareness month, and and it is because we have to highlight, though we say it should be an everyday conversation when we're wanting to fix the world, it's not.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even have to be an everyday conversation if you would just acknowledge that others exist.
Yes, right.
That's all. That's literally all it would take, like acknowledgement of others' existence, so that the same opportunities are afforded to those others without us having to be like, yo, women over here.
I think that, everyone needs to accept that there's enough pie for everybody. That if we don't worry about where the pie is coming from, I know the pie will be there, but like being like, I'm going to hoard the pie because I have the pie now and I'm not going to give it to anybody else is just asinine. So
yeah, I say the rich are hoarding it all. That's not fair to say. I would say the greedy are hoarding it all.
The greedy are. There are definitely people out there doing as much as they
rich
can.
Philanthropists out there giving back and giving using their privilege to give back to the communities that need it the most. But yeah, there's a month for everything. And I think it's because like we the people don't know how to acknowledge others.
Yeah.
Mostly white people. We the white people. Mostly it's us. But it is like a kind of like a built into the system learned behavior, I guess.
Yeah.
It's weird. Anyways. Do you have,
so with that being said, we can well, I haven't even posted this
just
yet.
Us and Next today.
Video. Hey.
I love it.
I can read our one of our Asian American Islander, Pacific Islander
I would
recognitions.
Love
that. Okay, posted that, and let me get to my notes.
I think people like. Is it summertime? People are forgetting we around. Everybody's out on the lake right now.
Yeah, it is blue skies and beautiful. a little cloudy out, nice and warm.
What's up, y'all? Say hi when you come in.
And where is it? I guess it's got to be at the bottom. Okay, here we are. All right. So we have also discussed why Heritage Months and recognition of the atrocities that have happened for these months to be observed. This we're trying to highlight. We know that why they exist and why we have to do it, but we're going to keep the positive here, keep it going. We talked about Peter Tsai, the doctor who created the N95 respirator last Monday. And then today we're going to move on to Nainoa Thompson. He's a native Hawaiian navigator, and he created the star compass. Modern navigators often use instruments like compasses, radar equipment, and global positioning systems, GPS, receivers to navigate the seas. However, early Polynesian voyagers found their way across oceans by understanding natural cues from the sun, moon, star, clouds, and waves. Around the 14th century, this traditional art of wayfinding to go on long-distance ocean voyages gradually died out. Native Hawaiian master navigator Nainoa Thompson became the first to practice it again when he combined traditional wayfinding principles and modern science to develop the star compass, a conceptual direction system, in 1980.
I love it.
It's a visual representation of how navigators view the horizon around them to find their way. Unlike a physical compass, Thompson's invention is a mental construct for navigation that splits the visual horizon into 32 houses where a certain celestial body is located. This allows navigators to orient themselves by identifying the position of the stars as they rise and set without the need of any for any navigational instruments. In 1992, Thompson began training new Hawaiian navigators to preserve tradition and pass on the knowledge to future generations.
I like that, because that last part, that's why it's important, is because you don't want to lose that in the new world. You don't want to lose the old ways in the new world, right? You don't want to just lose them forever. That's why language is really important, and passing down stories is really important. Yeah, because you want to maintain, I mean, of course things change, but you want to understand the past and their traditions, and some of those traditions don't need to be like uprooted.
Right. And
yeah. People need to know where they came from too, and then so like those stories are part of that.
Right. And knowing, even just in we're talking about Asian island and Pacificers, but even just the Native Americans here, where the traditions were lost, and
right,
so
and
they
the
are now,
yes,
and so they are now, I follow a lot of, it's one of my most favorite things, like on TikTok, is to watch like the dancers and the like and just the sharing of the history and the young.
Oh, I love learning those things from young people who are like going back to learning tradition. I love it.
And just sharing it, having this, being able to use that platform, even though it sucks for not being able to use what we want to represent. They it's education, and just, I don't know, it's on my feed all the time. I love it.
I want to say about that, I want to say thank you to creators who do take time out of their day to educate us about things like that, because generally speaking, a majority of people don't go out in search of things that are outside the realm of their outside the realm of like their general interests and things like that.
Right.
And so when something like that rolls across their feed, my feed, your feed, our feeds, and it's presented in this really interesting way, in this compassionate way also, it's very I love it. I love getting education that way. But also, having said that, I just want to say, is also not your responsibility to educate us on the atrocities that we committed and the things that we took away. But I am happy to listen and gain information from those willing to share it. But I do not have an expectation that I shouldn't learn these things on my own if I need to know.
Right. And one thing that people aren't aware of, not only did their land get taken away from them and raped and pillaged and plundered, but it still continues to happen to this day. And so if you're not aware of those atrocities, like, again, use the Google, look up what Standing Rock and all of the different tribes that are fighting for their lands back and for water rights and winning. There are a lot of as many crappy pipeline stories as there are some wins. So and growing momentum, I feel like, again, with more education and the more people talk about it. But Native American women are among the highest missing rate of missing women, and it's not talked about. And so
at all.
And so that is again, these TikToks that I'm watching, they're not only are they talking about the heritage, but they're also creating the awareness for this and saying,
we did the trigger warning at the beginning, but the atrocities we committed against the Native population on this land, I mean, we're still discovering things. Recently there's been discovery of child remains beneath buildings where there were like orphanages or boarding schools or things of that nature where children were living. So these children just went missing and were never recovered, returned to their parents. Yeah, we did some really like horrible thing, and we continue to through policy and restrictions and with money and government still, but in a different way. I think it's the same, right? That's how they did it then, that's how we do it now. I think it's a little bit less violence, but not really, when you see people out protesting for their water rights and getting sprayed with fire hose cannons. I just like, that's, you're maiming individuals.
When it's freezing outside, y'all.
Outside.
This is when it was happening in the winter, and they're doing this.
Yeah, so I mean, we still do resort to violence. We were talking about on our last show generational trauma and how it affects individuals, but the people who cause that trauma also have generational learning as well. I don't want to call that I mean, it is a form of trauma, but they're not, I mean, maybe they are in their brains traumatized, but like they're the ones traumatizing people. Like, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying, you know what I'm saying though, I guess, sort of. It is a form of trauma for their brains, but also I'm not empathizing or sympathizing with those types of individuals. They get what they get, you know? But I think like when we see this caucasity out there, it's because that's the generational teachings of their people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I say they like I'm not one of them. I am a white woman. I am a white woman. But yeah, I don't understand the mentalities, I guess. Mentally, I don't get it. I don't relate.
I don't understand it either. And I feel like, the people that I'm surrounded with, come have the same, views and output of energy. And so it, to actually, knowing that it is just bullshit out there, like I don't live in a bubble, but I try, like,
I wish we could, but I mean, it's just like, I mean, even if you don't watch the news now, you can't get away from you can't get away from the news. It's people are posting about it. So you have to learn something about it, unless, you just, I mean, close the door to all of it. You would really literally have to like shut all of it off in order to be able to avoid all of it. Some people do that. A lot of people have been turning it off. But also we do have a responsibility. I especially feel a responsibility as a white woman to pay attention to what's going on in the world, because I have privilege, and that privilege can foster change, and I can only foster change if I'm educated about what's going on and I don't turn. I feel like it's so, like, we get to, I'm speaking from my perspective as a white woman, we get to, go inside and shutter the windows and pretend it's not happening, because it's not happening to us. Mm-hmm. Right. And so for me, this is me. I don't expect everybody to feel this way. This is just from my point of view, my perspective as me as a person. I feel like I need to, at very minimum, this is the bare minimum, be educated about what's going on. Because I have the privilege to turn around and act like it's not happening. And people that I love don't have that privilege.
Right.
Because they live it every day. And so, yeah, so that's why I try to limit my news intake and stuff like that, but I do try to stay up on what's going on. And having said that, I would like to take some time to just read the names of the people lost in Buffalo. I don't know if you have access to that list or not. I know I have it somewhere here.
I can.
So let me see. I have a saved article. I'm sure of it. Here it is. I remembered saving these because I wanted to speak on it and say their names. They deserve recognition. There were 10 victims lost in Buffalo recently to white supremacist terrorism and gun violence. And these are their names. Catherine Cat Massey was 72 years old, and she was an advocate for civil rights. We have Roberta Drury. She was 32 years old. Ruth Whitfield was 86 years old. Celeste Chaney was 65 years old. Pearlie Young, 77. She, I don't have a little blurb about her here. There's other posts that I've seen where there's like a little blurb on each of them. But she was a real staple in her community. She helped feed the homeless population in her community. She was very active in her church. Helping mentor young people. She was really active individual in her community and just senseless. Andre McNeil, he's 53. He went to Tops to buy a birthday cake for his son who had just turned 3 years old when he was shot and killed. Margus Morrison was 52 years old. Aaron Salter Jr., he was 55. He was a retired police officer in Buffalo. He was working security at the grocery store, and he did confront the shooter, and he lost his life trying to save others. So, senseless. I mean, it makes, excuse me. It's just senseless, and it's something that really needs to be addressed in this country. Like the fact that white supremacists go on these murder sprees for innocent and beautiful and wonderful lives. For what? Like for what? Like this wasn't his neighborhood. I believe I read somewhere it was like 200 miles away from where he actually lived. He did have the firearm legally, which brings into question what type of firearms should we have access to as a public. Yeah, I have that question. I don't think we should have full access to all of these arms. I have an opinion on that. I think long arms are fine. Like I feel like, you know, like shotguns, things like that, they're fine. But I also think that long arms, semi-automatic type of weapons, such as that are meant for wartime, mass casualty. Yes. Those. Listen, if you want to own one of those and you pass all the background and all that stuff, then you can own one of those. But I also think that there should be a responsibility where it should be housed in a professional space, like at a shooting range, where that's where you're going to shoot it, right? That's the only place that you should be shooting it, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
If you have firing range potential, I guess, on your property, there could be maybe an exemption for that. That would have to be like really
licensed and regulated. Maybe?
Yeah, regulated. I mean, we license and regulate our cars. Why not? Anyways, but I honestly don't think that, like, if you're showing up to Walmart with your fucking long arm, I really disagree that you should be able to own it. Why are you at Walmart with a long arm?
Yes.
And then those same people will argue about what just happened. But in the reality is like that's why we don't want y'all in Walmart with long arms, because y'all are the ones committee. I said y'all because it's a white supremacy mentality. That guy had a manifesto. He'd been planning this for weeks, maybe even months. And like, anyway, so that's not even the main reason why we had that I was mad on here today, but I am mad about that. It upsets me every time I see something like that because it's senseless. There's no need for it. Those people's lives were innocent lives. Those people were good, hardworking, and community-driven people. And for them to, they're not coming home. They're not coming home. Like, that's so crazy to me. Because a white guy felt privileged about something. Because a white guy's not getting laid. Because what? And then they'll try to spin it on mental health. Well, you're not going to do anything about that either. Like, look at our healthcare system. You're not going to do anything about that either. So first of all, it's not a mental health issue in this situation, unless you want to count white supremacy mentality as a mental health issue, which, I mean, I guess we could argue that point, but like,
yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole because we could totally.
God.
I mean, we're all about talking about whatever we want, and we certainly could.
But you know what I'm saying? It's just like that. I mean, that mentality is mentally unstable, but also it's a terroristic mentality, and we should treat terrorists how we treat terrorists in this country. And I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, like that guy should not have left that place. I mean, I want everybody to leave a police interaction without a scratch on them. Honestly, I want that to happen. But that guy, out of all the people that have died in the hands of the police, that guy was not one of the people that deserved to leave without a scratch on him.
Yeah.
So anyway, so rest in power, lovelies. We will see you again. Thank you for your contribution in this life. So, I'm actually mad about something else today.
Okay, fire away.
Let me pull this up in my inbox. I got another notification in my inbox. Oh my goodness. Did we already talk about? I feel like this was issued around 420, and then now they're coming back with it. So I feel like I'm reading this correctly. Today, the Colorado Department of Revenue's Marijuana Enforcement Division is issuing an expanded health and safety advisory due to the additional identification of potentially unsafe levels of total yeast and mold contamination in retail marijuana bud shake trim produced by Fresh Baked LLC. This was the last advisory, I believe. Through our investigation, the MBD has identified harvest batches of retail marijuana flower bud shake trim that were untested or not tested properly, dating back to July 14th, 2021, which have been found to contain levels of microbial contaminants above the acceptable limits established by the rules, and it lists the rule. As a result, the CDPHE and the MED are expanding health and safety advisory issued on April 20th. So I'm right. This is the same one we talked about on 420, around 420, to include all retail marijuana produced by this license before February 25th, 2022, to be potential threat to public health and safety. So couple points here. Was any of this sold to the public? This is basic. I just opened it up to just see, and it just basically says the same thing. Consumers, okay, it does say this. Consumers who have been affected, who have these affected products in their possession should return them to the retail marijuana store where they were purchased for proper disposal. And while only marijuana produced on and after July 14th, 2021 was still available for testing as part of this investigation, out of an abundance of caution, it is recommended that consumers return any products still in their possession from the below retail marijuana cultivation facility. Consumers who experience adverse health effects from consuming the product should seek medical attention so they can misdiagnose you with Anyways, that's not what it says, but that's what I'm telling you. And get attention immediately and report the event to the store from which they purchased the product. All affected marijuana should have a label affixed to the container that at a minimum indicates the license number of the retail business, blah, blah, blah. And then it lists the cultivation number. You guys know my problems with this. There's so many things to lay out. Some people might have had affected product, went to the doctor because they were sick. The doctor said, do you smoke marijuana? They said yes. And the doctor said, you have CHS. No, not knowing that there's a recall happening.
And what is CHS, Canna Queen?
So it's listed as cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. Hyperemesis. Hyperemesis. I always fuck that word up. But anyways, I'm not a doctor, you guys, but it has symptoms. It has symptoms like cyclic vomiting. It has symptoms like you feel like very sick unless you take a hot bath or shower. Benadryl can sometimes help. It's like heaviness in the limbs and fatigue and being lethargic, like those the symptoms. Also closely related to symptoms of azadirachtin toxicity, which is the number one main ingredient in neem oil, could be left behind in the plant. If it's smoked, it could potentially, we need more studies to prove this, but it could be potentially be in the danger. So you could be suffering from pesticide toxicity. And now we're seeing all of these mold and yeast recalls that are having higher levels of mold and yeast than are acceptable according to the science and according to the regulations. And people may or may not have had this product and it affected them in some way, shape, or form, made them sick, nauseous, whatever. And they went to the doctor about it. I'm sure of that, right? Because some people get a little freaked out if they're continuously vomiting or continuously sick. And then what is the go-to that we go to when we don't feel well is our plant. So, trying to figure that out. But if you have affected plant from a regulated facility that has not yet been inspected and this has not been found yet, then you go to the doctor, they misdiagnose you. They already misdiagnose people. They misdiagnose people that have gastroparesis with this syndrome. The cyclic vomiting syndrome is actually a thing. They misdiagnose those individuals with this syndrome just because they touch the plant and put a little bit of it in their lungs. That has to be the problem. They never test the plant material. They never do that. And then when these reports come out, it makes me wonder if, that's contributing to cases of this, because we always see these news reports every so often that cases of CHS are rising in the nation as cannabis legalization is on the rise. So it's like this correlation. Cannabis legalization is on the rise, so is this mysterious illness that you get from cannabis. Like, what? You didn't even test it.
Didn't test it. You're not asking me about my previous health. And that's where again, this disconnect between, medical cannabis patients, doctors that don't fucking care about their patients. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through the marijuanamoment.net site and there was a picture and I clicked on the headline of SCOTUS shouldn't take cannabis case, Biden DOJ says. Underneath that though, there's a picture and a little headline and it says FDA warns on THC foods, poll legal marijuana more popular than politicians. Senator slams medical cannabis in abortion speech and banking momentum. And so
what do the two have to do with each other? Jesus.
No, these are just the different headlines that are I guess that are supposed to be covered here. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to scroll and try and find this.
Yes.
And I can't find. I'm still scrolling. So that's I'm listening, but also wanting to find where this is at.
Yeah. Yeah. Also with the CHS, by the way, it's a common with inhaled products. So So inhaling could potentially exacerbate the situation, or it could be the reason for the situation because you're inhaling plant material that has something in it that shouldn't have in it, right? When we talk about medibles and things that are ingestible, those go through a second testing process before they hit the shelf. In Colorado, you test one, you test again. So those don't get recalled as often, if you'll notice. You'll notice that those types of things don't get recalled. You don't get it. We're not recalling brownies, y'all. It's flour.
Right. I wonder, is there, are they talking in regard to those batch numbers? Do they track it to any processing facilities that may turn it into their own edibles? Does it covered under?
I think that there's absolutely tracking back to that product. So you could track back to that product and then be like, I need a batch sample to test this product that was made from this, just to be on the safe side, be sure. Do I think that they're necessarily doing that? No, I don't think so. I don't think they have the manpower to do it. I don't think they have the funding to do it the way that they should, the way that they want to. It's a public health and safety issue. I don't want the dispensaries, I don't want the business to have to pay more and more money for all of these things, because all they're going to do is put it on the consumer. But also, like, this hurts our industry, like, badly. Like, this is like a lettuce recall every week. If lettuce was recalled from a different farm every month, nobody would be buying lettuce, bro. I mean, it's lucky that this is magical lettuce. I mean, but what I'm saying is that it would really affect first of all, what's going on in Colorado?
Right. What are
we're supposed to be able to trust the regulated industry to have tested this product and tell us that it's safe, but yet every month, once a month, I'm reading one of these bullshit things telling us that we should return flour that we bought 6 months ago.
9 months ago.
Let me ask y'all a question.
10 months ago.
For those of you who are heavy smokers, such as myself, such as MJ, let's say you buy an ounce. How long that ounce gonna last you?
Honestly, when I'm on a budget, a month.
You can go a month with an ounce?
Mm-hmm.
Whew, girl, that is frugal as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot. I did a month. A month?
Yeah.
Y'all, less than a week and a half. A week. But if I'm being frugal, I can maybe push to the middle of the next week. I mean, straight up. But whatever your limit is, let's say you buy an eighth, right? Let's say you buy an eighth at a time. You buy that eighth at a time because that's what you know you're going to use, and it's going to be fresh. It's not going to be all old and dusty, right? So what do you think? What do you think, MED? What do you think that they're going to have plant material? Most of that shit is gone. And the only shit that's left is from somebody who bought it as a newbie and like got overzealous or some shit, or forgot about it. They lost it and forgot about it. Yeah. One of those two things happen, but usually over and above, I buy an ounce. I got to buy an ounce next week too. I got to buy an ounce the next week after that too. Like, it's literally, I mean, we've been frugal before. We've made it stretch, but I mean.
And then I do it by 8, like especially if when I wasn't traveling to the places where I get my medicine affordably, like I had to, like, and I think too, just being that I'm a bowl smoker too, I don't have a full, I don't use it as much, I don't burn through it literally.
Yeah. I do smoke blunts, and I smoke like a gram. That'd be at least a gram at a time. It says 0.8. It's a lie. It's a gram.
Yeah.
I pack it pretty good.
Yeah. So especially if you're packing it. Yeah. Super. Yeah.
Yeah. So I smoke about a gram at a time, and I probably smoke between 3 to 4 a day.
Yeah.
And I also dab. So you're telling me you're going to recall flour a month from today and you want me to still have it? Nah, that shit's in my lungs. You just put mold in my lungs and you told me it was safe to buy from this place.
And what about our grow standards? Like, why are growers not recognizing that their plants have an issue?
Because the grow facilities that y'all don't hate on me, don't come for me, prove me wrong. The grow facilities, they're neglecting the little shit. They're only focusing on what's going on like around the plant, but y'all got mold in the fucking corners. Y'all got mold in the so there's mold you can't see on your plant that is getting inside of the flower and is making it to our lungs because y'all got fucking mold in the you got a leak from your air conditioner, you got mold in the other corner, you got like that's why, because y'all ain't cleaning your shit. Y'all are not meticulous cleaners. I've worked with I've worked with many growers, but specifically I worked that I like, saw them every day for months, whatever. 3 different growers that I will recognize, and I will tell you that one in particular is fucking meticulous as fuck, and I had never seen our facilities so sparkling clean as I did when this particular head grower was there. And I've seen this person's personal grows and other professional grows since then, meticulously clean. Find me the dirt. The only dirt you're going to find is in the pot. Is like in the pot, like if they transplant and there's gonna be, but like when he leaves, that shit is fucking clean. It's sparkling. The plants are happy because they're in a very clean environment. There's no unexpected molecule like mold, yeast, any of that growing in spaces where you're not paying attention, because you're paying attention to everything.
Yeah, like when you pay attention, you see if there's an issue, like that is part of being a good
like
grower.
You got to check all the nooks and crannies all the time, not just like I checked it last week, it's fine. No, like in a week, mold can fucking rah. You know
and
what
so
I'm
many
saying?
things about your plant can change in that, in a day. And so you know you can't leave them. They're, I mean, in the wild, yes, I've seen some crazy shits happen.
That's different. That's not in an enclosed space.
But when you're talking about a controlled environment that you created for these,
as controlled as it is, it's the most uncontrolled. Like for me, like
uncontrollable
growing,
situation, right?
Yeah, outdoor growing. You let her do her thing, and she knows what to do out. When you add all of the other stuff, you have to pay attention to everything you added, because it is such a controlled environment that you have to control every piece of it.
And isn't that crazy that we're, here in Colorado, the plants can't be seen. So it has to be in this controlled greenhouse environment. Yes. And while benefits and great and this and that, we're still, people are still opting to do the indoor light systems because, they don't have the space to do outdoor greenhouse grows.
Right.
And
I mean, it's just the most efficient.
It is the most efficient. And so, but
it also brings those other problems.
And so then we're talking about large scale grows versus small scale grows. When you have smaller, batch and gardens, you have that ability to, and you assign someone to take care of that, section, just like, any job where someone's assigned an area and
that's
a job.
Your job. Yeah.
That's your job, to make sure that these live and produce and thrive, and that they don't get sick or carry, bugs or, that aren't, suiting them, and helping them out when they're in distress. And so it's just disappointing to, again, hear that this is, when we've taken it out of caregivers' hands who have cared enough to grow, cared enough about this plant to
won't let them in.
Won't, just and then again, and here we are, that we're getting year late notices of, about product that it no longer exists. And, and then and then no follow-up either. Okay, they clean up their act, they got a score, restaurants get their letter score or whatever.
There should be a letter score for a cultivation and a dispensary too. I think that, listen, you're on to something right now. This is not a bad idea. There should be a letter score for all of our facilities for a cleanliness score. And then that letter score, I mean, I don't want to cost y'all more money, but listen, y'all, somebody needs to hold somebody accountable. If you get dinged 15 million times on fucking mold, then you can't have an A score. If every time the CDPHE or the MED comes in to your facility, they find all kinds of dirt and mold and water drips and leaks and all kinds of weird stuff like that, every time they come in, like they ding you on, like, your score should matter. Man. This is not about, they shouldn't charge more for that. That should just be part of the inspection process.
It should be part of the program. Like, you know what? We want the best, for this industry, right? So like, this is, we can create these standards.
And then you're required to put on your product what your letter score is. Like,
how cool would it be, right? Just like as every part of the label, but how cool would it be to have some OG master growers be these, setting these standards and inspections up and going through and helping these, facilities.
I would love that.
They can be, that's the hope for everything. Like, everyone should be the best. Everyone's like, I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. Well, be the best.
Be the best.
Be the best.
Like, literally be the best.
You're not the best for y'all to compete to be the best.
You're not the best if you got mold growing in a secret corner of your grow. You're not the best. Okay. And I've fucking seen it. And you're not the best. And I've also seen it cleaned up. And I've also seen it spark. Like, the same spot where I saw that is the same spot where I saw it sparkling fucking clean. And it's possible. It takes dedication to your craft and to what you're doing. Like, you have to be dedicated to not only the plant, but the space in which your plant is living. Your plant lives there. It lives there under the lights and with the nutrients and with your music and with your voice and with your presence
with your vibe
and with your vibe and with the mold on your fucking walls, bro. And with, like, the mold on your walls and the fungus in your corners. Like, it's living there. And like, stop. And also, bro, stop throwing food away in places where your plants live. That's not where you throw your food away. That's what the break room is for. You shouldn't have food in those spaces, because, by the way, that could also cause issue. Also, you shouldn't smoke anywhere near you should not smoke cigarettes anywhere near that facility. Tobacco actually has a virus that can be transferred to your cannabis plants. I don't know what it's called, but it does. Life happens. I mean, just treat them like babies, man. You gotta treat I don't know. I kind of personify plants when I'm growing. So, like, little shit like when you're pruning your plant, and I think I've talked about this before, and some, like, if you're pruning your plant, the leaf might pull off, but it'll, like, string off. If you've ever pruned your plant, sometimes it'll, like, be string. So trigger warning, everybody, that's gross. But when I see that happen, it makes me think about, like, when you have that little piece of skin.
Stop right now, you're talking
about. Okay. Earmuffs, everybody. When you have that little, and it goes too far. Don't do that to your plant. Clean, even breaks.
There was one time I got to
I'm sorry I made y'all think of that.
I got to perform surgery area of branch where whoop, and we posted it up, and we and
duct tape that bitch all together and got it all standing.
Got it all balanced out. Yep. And she healed herself, and it was lovely. And it was beautiful to see. And then it was cool. And then come trim time, you could see where it had like worked its
molded
magic.
itself back up.
Yeah. It was really cool.
It's kind of like, if you think about it, like if a bone has to repair itself, where the calcium kind of gets in between to like repair itself. And then like Adoni, my oldest dog, has a spot where I think when he was younger, well, I'm positive that it happened in front of me. So when he was younger, my other dog and it took a minute because she was an asshole, full stop. And I love her dearly with all my heart. God rest her soul. And so anyway, but they started fighting over a bone. And this was at a time where he was starting to stick up for himself. And so like she bit him and like punctured his little leg. And I felt like it was just a puncture, and also I was broke. So we wrapped that bitch up, and he was walking fine on it, and he was like 6 months old, and he was fine on it. But when it was fully healed, if you touch like the back part of his arm, it feels like there's like what do you call those things? Anvil? Is that what they're called? Like an anvil, like that shape, like what falls on Wile E. Coyote's head.
Oh yes, sorry, anvil. Yes, an anvil. I was watching your hand motions, like I thought you were doing a mask, and so I was going in the wrong direction.
But
I was like,
that shape, that's what it feels like on the back of his leg, because the bone, I think he might have had a fracture, and the bone just healed itself. So the plant does that, actually. We had a similar situation. There's a violent windstorm and it laid my bitch out flat. And it was one of my favorite plants too. It was my poison princess.
She was
so good, right? And so she's smelling so good too. Like we were so close to harvest, and this windstorm came and just like flattened her. And I was outside in the rain with my husband in tow. I was holding 5, because she had sprouted like 5 branches. I was holding them all up I was hugging them like this. And he was down there just like wrapping duct tape, just like around, and then stakes all around. And she healed herself, and she turned out amazing.
Oh my God, so amazing.
If not a little stressed
I didn't know
out.
that story. She was, well, from that stress, she like rose like.
Right. Yeah, she was amazing. She had the pink flowers, and
she was
so beautiful.
Sister was like, what in the mother loving
that whole harvest. I also had in that harvest, I had afgui, and I had what was the lemon one that I had? White lemon. Those 2 were gotten from that very meticulous grower that I worked with, and they grew so beautifully. They were so funky.
They were, yes, and I am so thankful. I'm so thankful you shared them with me, because they were beautiful.
They were so good. I was so proud of that one.
When people talk, or when we're thinking about the growth of this industry and the accessibility, and we're looking at these big box MSOs and facilities that are just selling their wholesale, like growing in large lots, like pushing ounces out the door for like $50, like that, good on them. But then the product is not great. Like I've gotten something before where I opened it up and it there was no terpene profile. It smelled like grass, which is a terpene profile, but it was like, I
told you that I worked with a guy who owned a spot, who said that it's okay if it smells like hay. And I was like, no, we need the terpene profile. And he was like, I've had some really good stuff and it smelled just like hay. It was fine. It got me high. And I was like, yeah, that's
no, No.
What are you
No,
talking
there,
about,
and
sir?
so it makes the difference, and so, and again, when we're talking about standards of plant and growing and what what it can do, and it's not, if you actually let it, don't harvest it and try to, and then don't cure it properly.
Yeah, the cure is important, you guys. You could ruin everything you just did with the cure. Not the band. The band is great.
Yeah.
It's really, you know what, we should actually, I'm gonna reach out tomorrow. I'm doing some I'm touching some spots, emails to Hava Gardens, and let's have that cure conversation. I'll get them on the books for June also. Yeah, because I want to have that conversation. When we talk about Colorado, there's a lot of times where it's dry.
Yeah.
It's so dry. And you just get it and you're just like, I'm disappointed that I paid for this.
And
Like
and
a
then,
lot of money.
so do you appreciate see, and I guess it's only in the prepackaged stuff that I've received, is the, you get the little packets, the supposed to help with the whatever.
The Bovinas.
Um
Bovita?
yeah, I've
Bovita.
seen that. I think that, and there's another brand that we
Boveda.
got up here. Yeah. Um but I don't know. And then I've also received stuff that where I was like, this is a little not dry enough, that in
Right.
my,
And then you got charged for that weight.
yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
there's an in between there.
There's a fine, yeah, there's a,
I don't mind if because I understand the business of dispensary.
yeah,
So I don't mind like a moisture pack in the jar with what you're about to serve me and put into the container while I watch you. I
right.
hate the prepackage aspect. I know that
I
it's this turn
dislike,
and burn
no,
idea, but like,
no, I don't
no
like it
pun
either.
intended.
No,
Um,
I agree.
but
I
it's
don't
like,
like it.
but like literally, if it's too dry, you burn through it faster. And if it's not dry enough, then you got to wait on it and you got to hope it doesn't get moldy, which is bullshit. So cure your flower before you sell it. But also, like, if my flower's too dry, then I mean, is that your business model? Like,
So
I
and then is there education or capability, so to keep it, once you get your flower home, to keep it stored properly? Do you keep it in your dram? What if it came in a baggie? Do I put it in the refrigerator? Do I what? Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's a show. But
I'm a poor storer. I do not like, I used to be real meticulous about it, but like, fuck, we run so many shit. Like, we run so much shit. They're all still, look, my dispensary throws it in an old school baggie. Yes, absolutely they do.
yes, yeah,
And so sometimes they'll put it in a dram jar or something like that, which is plastic also. I should really take it out of the plastic and put it into glass. That's going to be your best bet, everybody. And then also an opaque glass or a solid color glass is going to be better than a clear glass, because the elements, the light and everything can affect your flower. It is a whole show. We are going to bring somebody on, from Hava Gardens to discuss it, and best practices for large facilities, for your personal grow facility perhaps, and for personal consumption. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I don't have anything against those little packets. I've used them. You just got to be careful with them.
yeah.
I've used them to my detriment. Like, I had something that there was too little of it in the jar, and there was that packet in there. So then the little bit that was left got all moldy.
Oh, had the reverse.
Yeah, got too much moisture.
Yeah,
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
So I did find another article, or the article, and this could probably fall under why things make us mad. This is from marijuanamoment.net, and this is coming out of the state of Colorado or Oklahoma. Trigger warning regarding a woman's rights to choose. But a Republican, the Republican U.S. Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma, compared
hold for that dodgy ass story. It's 420 on the West Coast, everybody. Light them if you got them. Smoke them if you got them. Happy 420 West Coast.
Happy 420 West Coast.
All right, let's talk about this dodgy motherfucker.
So he's opposed to cannabis legalization and abortion access, of course. And he has said that he feels Oklahoma's medical marijuana makes it too easy to obtain cannabis. No matter what the patient's medical condition, he believes Democrat-led Women's Health Protection Act would make it too easy to get an abortion. So he's basically
wait. Those two things have zero to do with. Oh no, we've been heated all fucking 2 weeks. We've been heated. Like those two things literally have nothing to do with the like. He would. I don't even. Can you read that again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me.
He said. He just feels Oklahoma's medical marijuana makes it too easy to obtain cannabis, no matter what the patient's medical condition. He believes the Democrat-led Women's Health Protection Act would make it too easy to get an abortion. So he's talking about, he's comparing, I'm sorry, I guess I
probably. So he's like, yeah, so he's like saying, just as this Oklahoma regulation on cannabis makes it too easy to get cannabis, this proposed act makes it too easy to get abortion?
Yeah, basically. So he continues to say, we're a state that has medical marijuana laws. You have to have a medical prescription from a doctor to be able to get it. So you know how you get it? The medical marijuana place actually has a doctor that you can just call that'll write a script to you, that'll write it for no matter what. Well, first, you don't know. Are you going, no, like, no.
First of all, it is illegal to write a prescription for cannabis because of old dusty fucks like this guy who continue to vote against cannabis legalization and then compares the ability to obtain cannabis in a state where voters have agreed that this is what they want, and science has proven time and time again that it's one of the safest substances available to people. He wants to compare it to his outrage about what women do with their bodies. I saw a TikToker the other day that made a fucking great point about abortion. And I'm going to try to articulate what she said. But basically, she was like, the living person's rights, like, if somebody is trying to harm you, you have the right to live. Like you're right. Like they will get in trouble for murdering you, right? Well, just because this isn't a right here and now human being, and even if it was a full-term child, which that is the rarest fucking thing. I don't even know. We would have to look up cases. That is like very rare and it is like medical necessity rare if it happens at all. But even then, that person doesn't have a right to this person's autonomy. Like, this person still has like autonomy. Like you're asking me to carry poison. You're asking me to carry
an alien.
You're asking me to carry something foreign to my, like, I'm not saying children are poison. I might be, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that women's bodies are severely affected by pregnancy, and you're asking somebody to involuntarily do that, or do that against their will. You have no right. You have no right to do that. This is mine. This belongs to me. So even in the case, if we were talking about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever, which we're not, by the way, we're not. That is fucking, oh my God. But even if we were, what gives that person the right to this person?
Right. And that's essentially, that it's kind of like, if y'all watch,
like, if anybody else tried to kill me, they would be arrested for murder.
But we're talking about, this is back from like royalty. Like, there was choice. Like, the woman again didn't have the choice, and it was like, yes, you save the baby, not the woman. And why that man, no matter if they're my husband or not, gets to make that decision for me is, again, like, what the heck are we talking about there?
I will save a little bit of mom love for y'all out there. A lot of times women make that decision before those things go down. So, like, if it comes down to me or the baby, I want you to save the baby, kind of thing. That those conversations are had in households where they're preparing to have children, oftentimes, especially those where complications have been recognized, etc. So, there are children here because their mothers sacrificed themselves for them, wantingly and willingly. But that shouldn't, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. I don't know.
So this doofus is basically, he did say that, because he's like, you can get a prescription if my left toe hurts, and then I get to get cannabis, and that's a medical condition. Well, no, it's not that simple. I mean, I'm even for Oklahoma, that has made, the barriers lower for a lot of things. I don't think a stubbed toe is on the qualification list.
But a broken one might be.
And so he's saying that the access to the ease of a physician being able to determine or make that right is they're just gonna hand them out left and right.
Okay, but that's what they did with opioids, y'all. They handed them out left and right, and people died left and right. And that's not what happens when you hand out cannabis left and right. People don't die left and right. Crime doesn't go on the rise left and right when you hand out cannabis. But when you hand out opioids, that's what happens. When you lie about what's happening with opioids, that's what happens.
This is, listen, he says, leaving the decision up to a clinician's discretion could conceivably allow abortion providers to justify abortions at any point in a pregnancy, but not allowing them to do anything and just saying, we can't because that there's a percentage that might, make bad decisions.
I mean, he's made bad decisions. He, like, literally what I was just talking about with opioids, I guarantee we could look at his donor list. I guarantee that he's had donors that are from pharmaceutical companies that drive his decision making against cannabis, by the way. What is this guy's name again, and what state is he in?
He is from Oklahoma. He is the Republican Senator James Lankford.
Okay, listen. If it's not necessary for you to be affiliated in your state in any way, shape, or form, don't be. And stop voting for people based on the letter next to their name. Can we start voting based on what the fuck they have proven to do and what the fuck their policy positions are? Can we start voting on people for that and not?
They should have to present a business plan on that policy.
They should, this is how I'm going to make this policy work.
They should have to present a plan.
to us.
That's part of the running. Like, no more debate. I get it, but you have to now present to me your 5-point plan
your
of how
debate
you're going
is that. That's your debate. That's your debate. That everybody comes up like shark, like what is that called? Shark Tank. Is that
like a science fair
or like something like that? And everybody does their presentation, and we vote on the best fucking presentation, like the best. And then if they don't implement it like right away, we have like you have a deadline. You listen. If I get hired for a job and I don't do my job, they give me 90 days to figure my shit out. Now you got 90 days to figure your shit out. Okay. If you can't figure out how to do this job in 90 days, then you got to go do another job. You can't do this job, right? Okay. So, I mean, we could extend it a little bit for that politician shit to like get in there and fix shit up and whatever. But like literally you got like 90 days, bro. And then if you can't figure it out, then next best presentation wins, bro. That's how it should work. That's how it should work. It should work like that. They should be held accountable to us. They should not be able to take like corporate donor money. They should not be able to do that. It should be limited to how much they take from the citizens. And term limits. Like that old fuck. How old is he? He's like an old fuck, right? He's probably an old fuck, or is he a young fuck?
He is he looks like the middle of he's like right in between like old young, like he's
probably like in his 50s.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, so he just has like he's just hates women and wants to control women in his state. And the fact that he hates cannabis tells me that he has money in his pockets from pharmaceutical companies, and he's probably racist as well, because a lot of the policies that they create were born out of racism.
Oh, he's the one that appeared in a TV ad against the state's medical cannabis ballot. I think he was the one that used the funds, or use like political funds to do the ad too, which is totally not
it's totally illegal, but they never fucking get in trouble for that shit. Do you know a guy won a primary sitting in jail for murdering his wife?
Huh? What?
Yeah, a guy won a fucking primary while he was sitting in jail on charges that he murdered his wife.
That's insane.
That's insane. You're not allowed to be on the ballot if you get arrested for murdering your wife. Even if
I thought there were standards. Like
even if we find out later you didn't do it, right now you got to handle your shit. You don't have time to handle the people right now. Come back when your shit is handled. Come back when you have an acquittal. Okay.
That's crazy.
The fact that you made it to the jail for doing that, kind of makes me wonder about how you treated your wife in the first place, that made them think that you. Now, I know the husband's always the first. I know that. I watch all the shows, y'all. I fall asleep to all the shows. I dream about them. Okay. I know that he's the first suspect, but like literally, they don't put them in jail just on suspicion. Like they have to have other shit to say, yeah, we're going to arrest you and keep you here. And also, what kind of character? I mean, maybe he didn't do it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, also, like by the time you're in jail for it, especially because he's a white guy, y'all. I'm not talking about a person of color. I'm not talking about like a poor person. I'm talking about a relatively well-off white dude is in jail for murdering his wife and won a primary. I don't know what state that was in.
I know. I'm going to jump back to this real quick because I keep reading sentences that are, as you're looking that up, I keep reading statements that are like, this is not real. Thankfully,
it's real though. It is real.
I know it is real. Thankfully, the Ben Adlin, who wrote this article, had jumped in and was like, just to clarify, Langford's characterization of Oklahoma's cannabis program last week was not entirely accurate.
It's completely false.
Like other states, doctors give recommendations they cannot prescribe. And like Langford's assertion on the Senate floor, patients buy their cannabis from state licensed dispensaries and not from the doctors themselves. And then it jumps to, oh gosh, where else was I like, what the hell is going on? What did he say?
My dogs are so excited because let's see. Indiana.
Oh, how lovely. I love
Indiana man accused of killing wife wins Republican primary from jail.
Oh my gosh.
Like how, yo? How? You have to run again when you're not in jail, bro. When you've been acquitted.
Indiana, listen up. Don't do that. Again, like, and Oklahoma, listen up. This Langford dude, he is also one of the few members to consistently and proactively voice opposition to cannabis reform. He has repeatedly tried to gut a congressional spending provision, for example, that protects state medical marijuana programs from U.S. Justice Department interference.
And he continues to lie about what the policies say on legalized medical cannabis in the state.
He's vocally opposing banking protections, and he's just a piece of crap. So that's all I really want to say about about that dude. Don't reelect him or get in however.
I mean, don't reelect that guy, because he is proof that he's such trash, right? She said he's a dweeb. haven't heard that in a while.
Love you, Kelly.
Oh, if he's convicted, oh my gosh. Okay, so they're like, yo, as long as you're not convicted, you're fine. So an Indiana man charged with the murder in the death of his wife, who had cancer and had recently filed for divorce. Well, this gets spicier and spicier, doesn't it? That's because y'all won't vote him out. That's, you guys gotta, like really. I know you're not the only one, but I'm not saying you voted for him ever, but it's because people keep and also because, listen, this story is true gold in making my point right now, is because people who vote for the other guy or the other person don't show up to primaries, don't show up to mid-year or mid whatever elections, don't show up to local elections. Okay, here's the proof. So she had been recently diagnosed with cancer. She had filed for divorce. He won the local Republican primary election. He won the primary election. And he's 40 years old. He's charged with felony murder of his wife, Elizabeth Nikki Wilhoit, in March. Allegedly, he hit her over the head with a blunt object, a flower pot, and dumped her body in a nearby creek. At autopsy, the officers determined the Boone County officers determined cause of death. Blah blah blah. So, because people with shit to do and common sense don't show up for primary elections, this guy got elected, and he it is for what is it for? It is for, did I say this already? The Clinton Township Board. Okay, that's just Clinton Township, right, in Indiana. In this town in Indiana. But then he gets elected for the next office, and then he gets elected for the next office, right? He wants to be a politician. Also, low-level authority figures and representatives make decisions for the town itself. So things that are going to directly affect you in your town are made by those people sitting on those boards. And that's real. I believe our guest on what day? Wednesday? I don't know. What day?
We're going to confirm. I don't know if we,
I think it's Wednesday. I think it's next Wednesday. We're going to have Stanford come back. I believe he's running for a similar county council position. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know, that's a public service position, but you also have a lot of power within your environment.
Yeah, you get to, not get to, but it's a platform. His platform is, helping. He wants the best for his community, and, so you want someone that wants the best for your community in this position so that they can help, move these things along versus someone that's not really there for that reason. Right. People get that position of power and then they're like, woohoo, look at me. And I'm going to, go and let them.
Yeah. A lot of people who are in positions of power are there for just that reason, because they're positions of power. They don't really have aspirations of making things better. The power is what they wanted and exactly what they get.
Right.
I don't think he has anybody fooled, Kelly. I think he says exactly what he means and what he stands for. And I think that that people believe him, and the people who like what he has to say vote for him. And unfortunately, those individuals don't really have anything else better to do with their lives. So they show up to every single election. Like legitimately, or they have that, there's nothing, I don't want to say there's nothing wrong with this, but they have that like real patriotic sentiment like just drilled into their brains that if you don't vote, it's a real problem. And that is, I feel that way too. If that's that's what I believe is patriotic. You know what I'm saying? That's, I believe that being civil-minded and at least at the bare minimum voting to help your community and to support your community is the bare minimum you can do. And if you are a person who is not a cis white man, then I urge you to please go vote every time you get a chance, because people fought for you to have that right. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is that his message is reaching the exact mindset of a lot of people in that state. I wouldn't say clearly not all of the people in that state agree with him, and clearly there are plenty of people in that state that could vote him out, but it is a matter of actually showing up.
And it's a matter, when she says it right there, the support oil. It's a thing here. Like businesses in one of the towns here has you have to put coal. Coal keeps the lights on in order to be okay in the community. Yeah. Even like. And here's the thing too, is like people, they're like, oh, we don't want cannabis to exist because then we can't, because then our industry goes da 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 da.
Yeah.
No, it's not that, y'all.
Yeah.
It's the dirty practices of those industries. So let's be real there. If and we don't have to go into that though. I have 2 headlines to choose from, unless you have anything you want to go for.
Oh, no, I don't. Go ahead.
Okay. We can choose from Representative Earl Blumenauer, a Democrat from Oregon, sent a letter calling Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg to change federal drug testing policies that cause truckers and other commercial drivers to lose their jobs over off-duty cannabis use that has nothing to do with impaired driving. So that's a full article. Or we can go with a new poll found that marijuana legislation is more popular with Texas voters than the state's governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and U.S. senators, as well as Joe Biden's and the National Rifle Association, local law enforcement, and more.
Yeah.
You want to hear that one?
Yeah.
So this is from a couple days ago from our wonderful Kyle Yeager of marijuanamoment.net.
Just hold on. Pause for a moment. How the fuck does a pig run for office? Says back in and I remember this actually, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, children can run for office and win because nobody goes out and votes. Back in 2015, 2016 area, there was a pig running for mayor in Flint. It didn't last, but it shows how easily anyone can. How did you even end up on the ballot, motherfucker?
Someone wrote, that's crazy. I mean, that's like an ultimate prank or something. That just got carried away.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting, but I had to read that.
No, that's
that is just
but
that
then
is just an example of exactly what's happening in our American justice system.
Or even, the good old South Park episode about the, you get to vote for the shit sandwich or the poop something. Some other, the other, whatever.
Yeah.
Not the other option wasn't appealing either. So
that sounds familiar.
The survey from the University of Texas at Tyler found that an overwhelmingly bipartisan majority of Texans at 83% support medical cannabis legalization. 60% said they're in favor of recreational legalization as well. It crossed party lines with 91% of Democrats, 74% of Republicans, and 85% of independents saying that patients should have legal access to cannabis. So come on, Texas, you guys come here and thank goodness you come here. And
thank you.
Thank
you for spending your money in our state.
Yeah, in our towns, because that's apparently the only way that anything can get done.
Some of us,
based on Texans, and thank you. I met some really good people. As far as yes, they're fun to make fun of, and there are some poopy ones out there, but the people I get to interact with are all usually they're here for a good time, so they're not totally douche mode.
Yeah. No, we know a few that are okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We won't hold it against you.
I might a little bit.
A little. Only, and we might only joke a little to your face.
A little bit to your face. If I ain't joking about you to your face, then I probably don't even like you anyway. What did I say the other day? If you're my friend and I've never flirted with you, are we really friends? Probably not. I flirt with my friend. My friends are hot.
So, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm eating Fig Newtons.
Oh, jealous.
I'm hungry. That's a lot of numbers and stats, but y'all go check out marijuanamoment.net for it. And
surprise, surprise, weed is more popular than politicians. Congratulations.
Yes. They've collected enough signatures to place cannabis decriminalization on the November ballot in Denton. They're working to put decriminalization on local ballots in Killeen, Harker Heights, and San Marcos. So I feel like, again, we have a lot of traffic here, you know, and so it just, again, makes sense that why couldn't big old state of Texas capitalize on what they, want to and move it forward to interstate commerce.
Yeah, that needs to happen. It's a necessity. I think I've said this a lot, but cannabis will save the world if we let it. Like literally, you guys, hemp hemp has been used to like clean toxins from soil and make that soil, like that dirt and that soil, usable to plant things in. Like it was planted in some places in Chernobyl to pull out the nuclear waste toxins in the ground. Mm-hmm. Like it's an amazing plant. I mean, obviously you can't use it after that. Then
so our dandelions, people don't
yeah, stop killing your dandelions. They're bee attractors. They're you could eat them
they actually grow and help your soil.
And you can eat them in a I mean, I don't think they taste great, but some people do. They put them in their salads and stuff. I mean, and y'all, there's a food shortage. So y'all might be eating them dandelions. Don't cut them down.
Mm-mm. And there are so many other things that you can make out of with dandelions. You can make dandelion wine.
Yeah.
You can make different elixirs with them, with the flowers.
You guys already know. You know my story about getting too high at the Dandelion Festival because there wasn't any real food there.
And you just drink dandelion wine?
No, I just fucking, this guy offered me a Rice Krispie treat, and he looked like a whole dad. He looked like a whole dad, and I was new to Colorado, so I was like, he's got Rice Krispie treats for his children. That's what that is. And my friend was like, you don't want to eat that. And I was like, I do, though, because I'm starving right now. And all they got is dandelion fucking salads around here. And I can't with this. Like, I was new to Colorado. I was like, I don't understand why y'all eating dandelions. It don't make sense to me. And I was there for the party. There's a bunch of fucking shoeless hippies out there dancing to music. And there was like, that was a fest. It was fun. So he hands me this piece of Rice Krispie treat, which I feel is going to like take care a little bit of the hunger that I'm feeling in the very deepest pits of my stomach. Like my stomach was like, like it was so mad. And I took one, I stuck the whole thing in my mouth, but I took one bite of that thing and I was like,
crap. What'd I do? Take it back.
It was so weedy, and you can't spit out free weed. I say it every time. You can't do it. Somebody, I mean, as nonviolent as we are, somebody will get mad about that for real. Like, man, that shit costs a lot of money. He looked like a whole dad, and he was a whole dad, but I didn't know how Colorado worked back then. I was like,
wild and woolly.
And it was like a new market still too, because I got here in 2011, so it's still pretty fairly new market, but yeah, like still like it was just wild. Like everybody was doing it anyway. Like they were like, oh, you gonna let us do it now? Okay, cool. They were like, we were already doing it, but now you're gonna let us do it? Okay, cool. So yeah, I ate that and I got more high, and I had to be taken to a restaurant after that. I was burnt, high, and I don't remember what restaurant they took me to, but I definitely was like, we need to eat, and we need to eat now. We were like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but there was no food there. So yeah, it was a good time. And I went every year for a few years after that, and knowing what to expect after that. So I made sure I was locked and loaded with what I needed. But I ate a couple of dandelion salads here and there. I got into it and stuff. But yeah, it was a weird. I was like, damn, I wanted that rice. That it was just like that big of a, but it was big enough to be like, that was probably a lot in there, but it wasn't that big, but it was enough for me to be like, oh, that's going to feel so good. And then the second I bit into it, my stomach growled even louder. It was like, you are going to be so fucking hungry.
Oh my gosh. I'd be like, we're going to have to leave this festival.
I was short-lived. I was like, we have to go get food. Something has to be fed here. Yeah. Like there's a monster. What I posted on my Instagram the other day, like if I got an attitude, everybody ugly, don't talk to me. no, I'm not hungry. And I put asterisk like, yes, I am. You should probably feed me and I will act better. Like
literally, I'll take care of those things.
You don't have to tell me, like, are you hungry? Bitch, don't ask me stupid questions. Don't even fucking talk to me right now. Like, I got an attitude problem. You don't need to talk to me. Just bring the food.
Just shove
and leave,
food in the
shut
mouth.
the fuck up.
And leave
like,
me,
seriously.
leave you. Like,
I know that seems rude, but once you feed me, then I'm nice after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
many people have seen this to be the case. I have witnesses to
Dr.
my
B
attitude changing, like, in an instant.
In an instant. Dr.
Like,
B and I had a code word for my hangry issues. Like, whenever, I mean, like if I were, if I was like throwing attitude because I was hangry, we had a secret word where it's like, all right, we got to wrap this up and go get food because
like code word, like pineapples. We need to go. We got to go. There's things happening. So when I was in active reserves, I would drill once a month and twice a year, as they say on the commercials. And so during drill, though, there would always be somebody who would bring me a pack of Reese cups and a Dr. Pepper. Back there, that's what I ate. That was breakfast. So somebody would always bring me like Reese cup and a Dr. Pepper. Like, here you go, MA2. So now we're gonna have a good day.
like,
yes, we're gonna have a good day because I've been fed. Thank you so much.
Fed and sugared. Whoop, whoop.
And now all it takes is like literally water, food, and weed. I can be chill as fuck if I just have the 3 necessities. It's my pyramid.
Trifecta, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I was gonna say something and totally spaced it. That's all right. I've got another headline.
Okay. She said hangry can transform somebody.
Oh, yes. And I was gonna say is that, Snickers really like caught that right boat. Yeah.
Yes, they did. That was excellent marketing.
Great marketing.
That was brilliant.
Still some of the best commercials.
All I'm saying is that I feel like that we could have probably avoided a Dateline episode or 2 with feeding somebody, is what I'm saying. It's common. When your blood sugar changes because you have not eaten, then your brain is different. Like, you gotta fucking feed that shit.
Yeah.
It's real life.
Yeah.
Anyways.
You go into survival. Yeah. All the things.
It's all the things.
So this funny is 2 headlines. These are just little snippets that, they give little blurbs or whatever, and then you can click to go further. So these are the federal headlines. Representative Nancy Mace, a Republican of South Carolina, got engaged to her boyfriend. Woohoo. Her boyfriend co-founded a company that produces rolling papers. And she says, though, his work has nothing to do with her marijuana legalization bill.
Same, girl. Same.
And then
but he better vote for that shit. He better vote for that shit. Get out,
friends.
Yes, get out if you're not voting for my shit. Like, you don't have to participate in my parties. You don't have to smoke my reefer, but you do. If you got a right to vote, go do it. Go vote for my shit.
That's Nancy Mace of South Carolina. Well, on the other flip side, Representative Ralph Norman, also from South Carolina, a Republican, is refraining from making an endorsement for Nancy Mace's re-election race.
Oh, come on. Get off your dick about it. Give me a break right now. Are you...
disagrees with her legalization stances and
fuck all the way off.
And
how much money
issues.
How much money have you received in the entire time that you've been a politician from Big Pharma? I want to fucking know that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck you, guy. Fuck you, Ralph Norman. Don't vote for that guy again. Where's that?
South Carolina.
Fuck you, Ralph Norman, South Carolina. You are holding people back. Your state needs it. One of the states that needs it the most. Yeah, one of the most affected states by what happened with these opioids, and you are denying them clean, organic, legal medicine. You're gross, dude. I can't with you.
So, boo Ralph Norman, yay Nancy Mace. In regard to those issues, read your ballots and measures properly. Little education pieces are always available.
Again, he's probably like a million fucking. How old is this guy? 65.
I don't know. I didn't. Let's.
You didn't see a picture.
I bet no, I didn't click on him.
I bet he's like an older dude. Like I bet he parts his hair to the left. Oh, nope, to the right. Excuse me. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything's got to be to the right. Is he married? I want to know things about people like him. I feel like we're all profilers, you know, like Criminal Minds style. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see a person and you're like, you fit the profile. I feel like we're all doing that to them right now. Because I do that. I do that a lot to white dudes. I'll look at a white dude and be like, I will profile you from head to toe. I'm sorry. And I can't help myself. But I'm learning. I'm watching I'm telling you right now, I'm watching. For most people, not just white dudes, but especially why I'm specifically very careful about y'all. And I'll be watching your every move. I would pay attention to like the little movements and shit. So just know that about me. There you go. There's a little piece for your chessboard.
Ralph Norman. Born in 1953.
Yeah, so he's like 2 decades older than us. Whatever, dude. Get the fuck out of office. Why are our grandparents in office? Why? Like, why retire?
He's been serving the 5th Congressional District since 2017. So it's only 5 years.
But there should be. That's longer than any president gets to serve. Yeah. You shouldn't be able to serve office longer than what our president serves. And I think that should go for our Supreme Court as well. I think that there should be term limits on our Supreme Court. This bullshit. My heart goes out to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was a queen and a badass. But let me tell you something. She should have been retired long ago. The fact that she was on our side for these issues just shows how progressive she's always been. Right. But generally speaking, as people get older, they just get stuck in their own time. Like, this is the best time of my fucking life. Why wouldn't I want to fucking be stuck here? You know what I'm saying? So what happens to me at 45 when I'm 85 is not what's happening to 45-year-olds, right? And so, like, there's this whole disconnect, and they're not all like, we know that, right? We know that that Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Bernie Sanders are fucking anomalies. They're fucking anomalies. The rest of these fucking grandmas and grandpas on both sides of this fucking bird are voting in these really unrealistic ways for the way that we live today.
For the masses, you know, if they're, that's where it's again.
There's such this huge disconnect. Being a politician is a public service job. Why does Nancy Pelosi have 15 refrigerators? Like, you know what I'm saying to you? Like, you understand, like, and then people will say, well, she made her money in other things, right? Yeah, but she's part of the elite. She doesn't understand what normal everyday people have to fucking go through to live every day. And she represents those people and makes laws pertaining to our lives. And she is fully disconnected from what our lives are like. These are my refrigerators. Are you kidding me? There are people in this country that don't have a refrigerator. There are people in this country who have to like buy a bag of ice every day to keep perishables cold, or just don't buy perishables. There are people in this country live in food deserts. They've never seen an actual real fruit ever in their whole lives. Mm-hmm. That happens in America. In America. Like, what? And then we listen, I'm fresh off of watching Dope Sick, and I really highly recommend it. If you have Hulu, go watch Dope Sick. I was watching this and I knew all of the things. I know all of the things about the money and the scandal, but like, even when you know all of the things, when you watch it kind of played out, yes, it was played out in like actors and blah, 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 blah. Yes, there are people like, listen, I'm not going to fucking argue with you about it, but there are people who live in places that don't get deliveries of fucking real fruit. They've never seen it except in like books, magazines, is whatever. Like, literally that happens. They've never eaten an apple, period. Like, you don't have to believe it because it doesn't fucking happen to you, but it does happen to people. Anyway, but I'm watching this shit and I'm just like, they get away with this thing and that way. You guys, the FDA backed the Sacklers on this oxycodone. Like they were in on it, and they're supposed to protect our health. They're an organization that is supposed to make sure that we have regulation on things that we put into our body, right? That we put in some places. Some places don't have 7-Elevens. They just got like little.
Some people have food deserts,
like, straight up. And I can't with you right now. I'm not in the mood. You don't have to believe it because you've never seen it, but like, literally there's documentaries on it. Go fucking find some. Okay. But yeah, so just the way that this drug company got away with so much. Yeah, there are places in this country where people live who don't have transportation out of their little community, and their stores only carry like packaged foods and like milk and maybe some eggs. Okay, they might get some cheese, right? But they don't actually get any fresh fruit because that shit rots and that doesn't stay long, and they don't have a place to keep it. So anyways, not making unsubstantiated claims. You're just being ignorant from things you haven't seen, so it's fine. But anyway, so the point that I was making about the documentary, before I continuously get rudely interrupted, is that you know, this pharmaceutical company, this wasn't the fucking first time that the Sacklers had gone before Congress on some claims that Congress was like, are you being say like, is this safe for the public, blah 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 blah. And I'm passionate, it's a thing. But like, you know, when you pay them, they just continue to let you do what you want. This shit with the Sacklers has been happening well before the I think 1968 was one of the scenes that they showed in the docuseries where they were before Congress explaining themselves about a new drug that they had come out with, you know, and they made all these false claims, and I still don't think that they've actually paid a real price for that. And people are still dying in this country from overdoses. And now, like back when oxycodone was first put on the market, people were dying from overdoses from actually using the drug as prescribed. They were using the drug as prescribed. And there were so many false claims made about the drug that it was made out to be this like miracle thing, and people got addicted like this. And they figured out how to take the coatings off of it and everything. Now people are dying because they were addicted to these types of pharmaceuticals, these types of narcotic pharmaceuticals. Their doctors stopped prescribing them because now there's laws again. Like, the doctors are getting blamed for that shit. So they're like, I'm not prescribing any of that shit. They're super careful about it now. So now they can't get the drugs, right? And And so they turn to other things, cheaper things. Heroin, for example, is one of those things. And a lot of those things lately, as of recent, are laced with fentanyl. That's instant death. It's just scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they get away with it. And they get away with it. They caused this. They caused this. Even if they're not directly responsible for what's happening with the fentanyl and blah, 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 they caused it. They caused this to happen. They got us here.
And then they're not allowing, and then to block, again, continue to block like medical cannabis programs or just cannabis in general.
Yeah.
While we're seeing, again, the necessity for cannabis, for people and
all over.
I just found a Westword article that contains all the 2022 cannabis and hemp bills. So it's definitely a lot for another day to unpack because it's all the things. But I'll go ahead and get it posted on our Facebook page.
That'd be nice.
And everyone can start reading through that. And there is actually one, though, that I want to talk about because it directly relates to us and might be a good segue into our sponsors. And are we dancing our way out of here in a few? Okay, so House Bill 1222, marijuana responsible vendor designations. Under current law, a licensed medical or retail marijuana business may receive a responsible vendor designation if all of its employees successfully complete an approved course, like the one offered by CQ LLC. If the business is subject to a licensing action, the designation can be considered a mitigating factor in the licensing action. The bill allows an individual to receive a designation and provide the same licensing mitigation protection to that individual in a licensing action. The bill clarifies how a business receives and maintains a designation and allows a person with a designation to take that designation with them to a new employer.
Oh, nice.
So, and that was passed by the House and Senate, amended and signed by the governor.
Nice. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. That hopefully puts a up on business. Up.
Individuals and businesses. You can find your.
We got links now. We got links on the website. We got it all posted up now. Yeah. So check us out. If you do need responsible vendor training, CQ LLC Cannabis Consulting and Education does provide that. In the state of Colorado, www.cq-llc.com. That's a dash, not an underscore. So www.cq-llc.com. Customer service cqllc@gmail.com. 970-426-5985 is where you can find us for consulting, for education. We have it all. Give us a call. Ooh, I didn't mean to rhyme that. That was really gross. Let me just make a little edit here and put May here, but I did what I was supposed to do, and I have a new code for the Kings. So it's rolling across the bottom right now. KPTCCP May 15th. This one says it never expires. It never expires until it gets used too much. So I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was going to happen. So if I'd have known that, I would just maybe left the May off, but whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the one we're going to use. 15% off. Use this code KPTCCP May 15 to get 15% off your next order of King Palms on kingpalm.com. This show is also, of course, and always and forever sponsored by Queen Kitty Seltzer. Solo.to/Queen Kitty Seltzer is where you can find all of our social media contacts. You can email us from there. You can find our cannabis closet information from there. You can find our Discord from there. All of that can be found from there. We are still working on distribution. I'm just waiting to get an email back. And I'm actually talking to somebody today about getting new estimates for labels and stuff like that. So that
I saw the email come through.
Kind of up the ante a little bit. So yeah, those are our sponsors today, and of course us, the Cannabis Closet. You can find us at Cannabis Closet. Sorry, solo.to/Cannabis Closet 420. You can find all of our links there, including our Discord link. You can always catch us here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 4:20 Mountain Standard Time, unless we tell you different. And if you don't have time on Mondays and Wednesdays at 4:20 Mountain Standard Time, by all means, catch us later on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. I just want to, because I'm not in the mood to argue with anybody. I know what I've read and what I've seen, and the stories that I've heard from people that I actually know. But on the piece about food deserts and stuff, I don't really want to talk about that, but I do want to talk about, we were just kind of joking around about being hangry or whatever, and how like not eating can change like the chemical makeup of your brain, etc. But literally, if you live in a place that doesn't have nutritious food or an abundance of food, and we're in a food shortage right now, you can see already there's not enough formula on the shelves. There's other things. You guys have been in grocery stores, right? If you have a grocery store nearby where you've seen that some shelves are completely empty where they used to be full, right? And that is because we're not getting deliveries, shipments aren't coming through, etc. There's a whole lot of problems in the infrastructure of getting the food to the store that are causing this to happen. And here's the thing: not only now are we in a situation where people aren't going to get enough food delivered to their little tiny stores that they have to shop in, but then on top of that, they're still not getting any nutritional options. That affects our brain. That affects your whole body. It affects things like we were talking about being hangry, but like it can't, like literally on a larger scale, this can affect the crime rate, because people are hungry and their bodies are hungry for something specific because it needs it, right? And they can't get it. And so their brain just like rewires itself in a different way so that it can compensate and cope with what is happening and how they have to feed themselves. But that can cause all kinds of chaos.
Yeah, it's a survival mode. It's and then like a feral, like don't have access to things again that give us nutrients, like food, just be a processed box food is not food. It is not. There's a reason why they had to start enriching certain foods with the vitamins and whatnot, like you're tricking the kids or something, because
they were our bodies.
There's an overage of some of the processed food use that it's not, they're again feeding ourselves but not getting anything out of it. So it's a real thing. But so I've been watching a lot of like another TikTok thing, but it's this local family, Black-owned farm, and he teaches you how to grow everything. He shows you how to pot, small pot gardening. He talks about the different ways to, like talks about fruit trees and planting. It's just so amazing. And he does the, in the time frame that TikTok allows. And it's just, I'm like, I want to be able to do this. I want time to, like time, money, and to set up a garden to produce.
There's a girl on TikTok that does something like that also. And she does it with like what's already naturally growing in the environment. So she like goes mushroom foraging, and like she'll talk about plants that grow in your yard naturally and how you can use them to. There's this one with those little bluebell plants.
I was gonna say, is it her?
Yes, where she made the lemonade, and then she showed the basic anesthetic properties.
Yes.
Oh man, I love her so much. I watch it because she's entertaining, and then she's like, she was like with the mushrooms, with the little, she's so great. I can't remember her name either, but But we
follow her. I think, because I half the time I don't realize I'm on the Queen Kitty thing, and I'm like liking and following stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, I definitely have caught a few of her and scrolled through her whole feed and been like, oh
yeah, she's amazing. It's
yeah.
so nice. It's so nice. And I'm like, ooh, because we have those in the yard, and I'm like, ooh, I want to make some lemonade now with that. But I just never.
Yeah. Oh, did you not?
I never did it. I don't know if I got them or not. I don't know if they're still out there.
Right.
It might be too late.
Yeah, they're quick. I saw some yellow ones around me, but I was like, well, I don't know if that's the same thing. So.
Yeah, the purple ones were the one. Yeah, the ones I was like, oh, we have those in my yard. I was so excited.
But our the lilacs around me, around this field that I live next to, is about to pop off, and I definitely want to make some lilacs CBD seltzer.
Yeah, no, you definitely do that. That would be so good. So yeah, if you can source that kind of stuff that's in these open spaces, or in your yard, of course, but in these open spaces, because sometimes the city will spray things on the plants around, just as a pest control situation. But if you can find them out in spaces where the city doesn't kind of go out there and spray, that's the best place to get your lilacs, your lavender, your just wild plants that you want to consume, just to make sure that they don't have any toxins in them. Is just my words of advice.
Yeah.
Or near don't, or try to stay away from bushes that are near a roadway too.
Yeah, because it will. Yeah,
because the cars go by and the exhaust and stuff.
Yeah, I know that I have two apple trees near me, and but they're both by roadways. One, just the side road here, but the other one kind of right next to the on ramp to the highway.
I don't know if apples are so susceptible as maybe those
softer
skinned plants. Yeah.
So I've pulled them. They're not regular apples. They're these tiny little apples. They must be crab apples. They're not the sweetest. I'm like, I bet I could.
He does a thing on crab apples, I think, and how to make a nice little something out of it. Was it her? Maybe not. I don't know.
I know. I'll have to. Yeah, like I said, there's a couple that I follow, or that we follow. That I definitely love to watch. So it's 6:20.
Yes, it's time to go, you guys. I don't know where I just put my blunt. But hey, listen, we did our ads. We did talk about all the things that we wanted to talk about. And we just want to tell you guys to be nice to yourself. Put your mask on before assisting others. Somebody help me find my blunt.
Yes, that's gotta be nice to yourself. Cultivate love, bring it to you. You deserve it. And as always,
y'all, real quick, when you're cultivating and you're doing that manifesting for yourself, you gotta believe it. You gotta believe it.
You gotta believe it. You gotta believe in yourself too.
You gotta believe it. Your tribe's gotta believe it. You gotta believe it. Nobody can say the negative things about it. You gotta say all the positive things about it. You gotta believe it. We love you guys.
Stay lifted.
Stay lifted. We'll see you on Monday. What's today?
Today's Wednesday.
We'll see you on Monday. Yes. We love you guys.
Peace.
Woo woo.